Hello everybody, welcome back to the 1860 Club. Today we're with Andrew Bennett and Phil Jobling, two players from the past, two members of the 1860 Club. Welcome gentlemen.
Thank you, Lee.
It's great to see you in good nick, Phil, and the same with you, Andrew. Yeah. What have you been up to, Phil?
No, just still working.
Mm.
Not doing much at all, really. Following Andrew a little bit, but the grandkids.
Yep.
Apart from that, not a lot. Just enjoying, obviously, the pool behind us in the summer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, 1860 Club's been good to catch up with a few of the older players.
Yeah.
But apart from that, not much.
Yeah. What about you, Andrew?
Well, aside from work, I'm still a bit of a glutton for punishment. Still involved with cricket. I've taken up a coaching gig with Montmorency this year. It's I dabbled with it previously. This is the first time I'm coaching a team rather than there to play. So I'll still run around for hopefully another year or two, body permitting. But yeah, really enjoying the challenge of coaching to see whether it's something I'd like to pursue further on.
I'm sure our club will be watching closely.
Yeah, well, Hazy,
potential target.
Hazy's always asking when we're coming back to do a bit of work. So who knows if the coaching thing's where I want to go, then look, it's definitely something that will be in the frame moving forward.
Yeah. Phil, your association with the club goes back some time because your dad, Steve, played with the club through the 60s.
Yep.
With some of the real old names from the past, Harold Duggan and Cole Miller, and would have played with Bagsy, I dare say.
I don't know about that. Maybe certainly Hobbs' dad.
Yeah.
Who was? I can't remember now. But yeah, he had an association, and that was obviously the connection that I went down there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was good. Yeah.
And you came down originally for the Hatch.
Yep.
Under 14s.
Yeah, I don't think I was very good. I just was fascinated by the fact that it had a grandstand. I wanted to play in a grandstand.
Okay.
In those days.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dad took me down, and then I don't think we only had under 16s at that stage, so I was too young to sort of go from that into that.
Yeah.
So I went back and played Thomastown for a year, and then I come and played the under 16s after that.
Yeah. Played with Dale, Chip.
Yeah, and that sort of thing. I'm not sure who lasted after that. That was probably Chip and I went all the way through, I think.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I remember when you came into the seniors, met your dad. Your dad introduced me to you, told me that you were a prodigious swinger of the ball. I think I was chairman of selectors that particular year. Yeah, you started off as a bowler, batting low down, and changed that around.
Yep.
And then increased your pace to be an offie.
Yeah, no, certainly lit it up after that. yeah, no. I think I got sick of getting hit for 6 off 10 steps. I got about 4. Still got hit for 6. Yeah, no. I think Dad was pretty proud that I went down there actually, and it was funny when obviously you go through the years, but there's Norton and then there was Greg. You know, there were so many people. The father and sons all got involved in the place, so it was really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So then you were associated with the club for the next 20 years, just about, maybe a year or two off to do some coaching, which we'll talk about later. Did you bring Andrew down?
Yeah, obviously, when I got met Gail, I was still playing cricket.
Mm-hmm.
She come down, did the afternoon teas and that sort of stuff, so obviously then the kids come down, so they sort of followed along a little bit, and you know, which was really good.
Yeah.
It was probably that connection again sort of followed me down, which I did with Dad, which was really good. It was just terrific, you know. There's so many older guys now, but when I went down, you just looked up to them all. They all looked after you. You just felt like it was just a really pleasant place to be around.
Yeah, yeah. How old were you, Andrew, when you came?
I think I was about 9.
Right.
My earliest memory of Preston was having Ravi sign my cricket bat.
Right.
It was a Duncan Fernley. So I would have been 8 or 9. And like Phil said about the grandstand, my earliest memories is going to get the ball that Ravi would hit over the grandstand and over the train track. So it was probably, I think it might have been a couple of years before Phil then went and did some coaching. So the formative years were spent running around Kramer Street.
Chasing balls.
Chasing the...
It's more than like it wasn't mine, it was more Ravi.
Or when you got hit.
Ravi or Rowan, probably mine.
Yeah. Good. Now, Phil, you started off in the fours and then worked your way up and had a decent apprenticeship in the twos for quite a long time.
Yeah.
You won the batting average how many times?
A couple, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I couldn't remember. I do remember Chip and probably Scotty Harvey to a certain extent, the badges that you'd have on the front of your jumper. I remember I had 3 or 4, but I can't remember exactly how many. But the seconds just seemed to be thereabouts most years for whatever reason. And unfortunately, the ones seemed to be that little bit short of getting the job done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was really good. You know, those days, you probably only had 2 or 3 younger guys in the seconds.
Yeah. And
the older guys certainly taught you how to play the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were good taskmasters, weren't they?
Yeah. You played hard on the ground, but after it was all, you know, I couldn't believe it sometimes. You'd be playing the game and you'd be looking up and how aggressive and all that was, but after the game they went inside and had a chat to them, and that's just how the game was then.
It was, yeah.
Well, the irony 20 years later, those same guys in the twos were the ones that were mentoring me through the fours. I think it was pretty much the same back then. I don't think it was as PC as it is now, where you, as a young guy, you sort of sit in the corner, grab a soft drink and...
you'd sit out, you know, they were terrific, you know, Scratch, Knackers.
Yeah.
Jimmy Lawrence, all those guys, Neville Air, you know,
Steve Hillam.
Yeah, the whole lot were just terrific. They, you know, if you need a bit of a clip every now and then, they give you one, but they're always there for you. They always backed you up, you know, and that was the one thing that I always respected about the club. You always tried to do the same when you got older. You know, you just tried to help people out. I always felt that that's what Preston did. It didn't matter whether the thirds won a flag, you'd still celebrate with them. They've done a great job to get there. So we always had that. We just wanted, I suppose, the first to win one because it's been a lot of hard work from a lot of people. Were we due? Maybe. Were we good enough? Maybe not. But when our time came, I think we grabbed hold of them when they were there. And it was great to see Ringer, Dick, even Dad, you know, Peter and June Jones. They've worked really hard. And I presume they'd be, you know, really rapt and smiling to know that the club's got what they might have deserved. I don't know, but
they did.
Yeah, we worked hard for it, I think.
They did. Andrew, you came down as a youngster, played fourths, thirds, seconds.
So I started Hatch.
Hatch.
Like most careers do. I was lucky enough to play bottom age and top age Hatch. I think it was the end of my second year of Hatch. My first game was against Q, last game of the year against at Yarra Bend. It was the first day of the Grand Prix. It was in Melbourne, so if you take that back, I think that was March 96 or March 95. And played one game, and I laughed earlier, sometime last year, that Trevor Staples was captain that year, and because I played one game, he claims me as that he made me the player I was in that one game. And then Steve Hillam was captain the next year, so he then says the same thing as well. So so you take it back there, and the following year progressed to the club full time. I think, looking back, I think I had 9 years at the club before I went to Premier, and the first 5 years I lost all my Hatch games. I think in the first 5 years played 40 odd games and won maybe 5. And then in the ones I played 50 odd games and lost 5. So it was quite the contrast. But those early days of the fours, those names that you mentioned before, every single one was in that team that I played with. And then there might have been Trent Lawrence, Greg Baggett, Matt Hillam. So the third generation, Chris Mitchell. A little bit as well. So then we all sort of come through as that new generation, and then sort of my second year, guys like Hazy sort of filtered through, and I guess we'll sort of the next generation.
It's a credit to the club.
That's right.
That it still exists and they still want to come and play.
Exactly. Now there was a crossover where you played together.
I think we played a couple of games. You were on a screaming decline, and I was on a rapid incline. I
thought that had mentioned.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember Mount Waverley or something.
Yeah, it was after you'd coached and come back for a couple of games. And,
so we played that one, but I can only remember going into the change rooms and, start of the game and had all this music playing and all this. So I nearly got changed out in the car. It was driving me insane. But that was the difference. That's how the game changed.
Well, you guys were at the pub before the game, so music's probably not as bad as 5 pots at a Palmer.
You didn't need that to get the game plan right.
Andrew, you played 50-odd games in the first, 57?
56, I think it was. The late, great H provided me with all of my stats for all grades a couple of years ago.
Yep, and you played in that winning grand final in 92, 93?
No, I was 10 then.
Sorry, 2002.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to play in the last two.
Yeah.
I always look back fondly, 99, 2000. Before that, I'd played 4s and 3s for 5 years, and I was sort of a bowler who might just try and slog it at the back end. And that 99, 2000 year, I was 17. I'll never forget, I started in the 2s. First game, duck. Second game, duck. Third game was dropped. Someone pulled out, went up. We were 2 for none. Dio put me in as a night watchman. Got 100.
Wow.
In the third round, then got, I think, a 40, a 50, a 60. And then at Christmas got put up into the 1s. So I'd played 6 2s games and then into the 1s, and I'll never forget it, that the first game was at Broadmeadows on a raging seamer, first game after Christmas. Hobbs nearly ran me out for a diamond duck. And then managed to get 20 odd, and then sort of went on a bit of a run. I didn't, when we caught up with the reunion, I realised I'd run myself out a couple of times in a few of the games, and I would have won the first and second batting average in my first crack, batting as a number 7, just getting my 20, 30 not outs at the back end. So I was a little bit naive to it, played the last 7 games, won a championship. And I was laughing, and I tell it always seems to come up. I know Hobbs loves telling this story that as a young bloke I might have overindulged in the premiership, and he tucked me in with a pink blanket on his on his couch after the grand final. Then after the championship, I had to go to do my school athletics carnival, finished the shot put, got on a train, got off the train and grabbed a pot in my school uniform to celebrate with the guys. And you sort of forget, it was a very quick rise from 3rds to 1s essentially. And I think I gave up the spot once the start of the next year, and that was it. But it went from that a bowler that something clicked as a batsman at 17, and before that it was just I wanted to bowl, and I don't know what it was. I still can't explain it, but something worked that day, and it was a bit surreal. Happening so quickly.
Absolutely, and to play in premierships with such wonderful players, Gaminai.
So amazing. That side was every single. I think the rest of the guys were almost Gam. He might have been late 20s. I think everyone else was around that 30. As well, because Daisy, Weary, Lowy are all 10 years older than me, so they would have been that 29 or 27 to 32 sort of range, and then myself.
You just believed, didn't you?
Coming through.
You just
it was
believed
ridiculous.
Good enough.
It
was even when, Greg, we had Ravi and Rowan. It was a bit like, I remember Greg said to Ravi, well, you played Test cricket, whatever you want to do. If you want to open the bowling, you want to open the batting, just do whatever you like. Over the years that we've all played, you look at the team and you see the opposition, you think, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. I think we just believed, didn't matter what, we had to make 200 to be a chance. We just needed to bat and we'd get them out. And we just believed, I think, with all those sides that we were better. And for myself and a few other guys, we just did what we needed to do to help the team get to where they had to. We didn't have to get big runs or anything. But I reckon that, I think we just believed that we were equal, if not better.
Well, you had some extraordinary talent in that side, didn't you?
Ravi, Rowan, Greg was great. He'd come back. And the young guy, Ash Robinson and these sort of guys. We weren't going to get beat, I think. Ronnie Brentnell. Everyone just did. The ship was bowling well. It's just a great feeling around the place. And then the best thing for me, Dad he held the cup up. And it was just all those people that had done that work, like Steve Hillam, all these guys, to see how proud they were. That was that was as much for me as anything else.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It was great.
Mm.
You were lucky enough to come through and see it all, where I was a bit naive to a point where I'd turn up and, oh, this first 11's easy. You win a premiership, and then the next year we got, if there's, well, whether or not this gets out to the subs or not, but Ken Fuster, we believe, forced us to play in a grand final, and Les Dale got 5 for bowling 2 steps off a bouncy one. So we should have won 3 in 4 years. But you sort of took it for granted almost that
you were going to win.
I think, yeah. I mean, for me, I played a year and a half. My first loss was in the grand final. Yeah. And then I think we lost 2 in 3 years.
Well, I can't remember when they first changed covers. And we were talking about it before, how treacherous some of the wickets were.
Yeah.
Whether we were unlucky or not, but it was just, we just played.
Yeah.
And then we invented the covers. I think it took 2 seasons for us to get the covers right. We didn't know whether to put the hessian on or what we had to do.
Yeah.
But half the people that have been there 7, 8, 10 years or whatever the case was, no idea.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to do.
Yeah.